I know there's one of my friends who have never seen a cow. Hello dear farmers and to everyone watching this episode. Welcome back to your favorite farming channel, Farming with the CEO, where we say farming is the way to go. Today I'm in County 019, Nyeri County, otherwise known as Karatina County, where I met the guest farmer for today. And before I introduce you to the guest, if you are new to this channel, don't forget to click on the subscription button and to turn on the notification bell so that you can always be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you have already subscribed, don't forget to share and to like. We are on a journey towards 10,000 subscribers. Let's make agriculture real. And our guest today, he is a dairy farmer, he is a pig farmer, he is a coffee farmer. But today we shall be talking about dairy farming. And for those who have never seen a cow, this is a cow that has 4 legs. I know there's one of my friends who have never seen a cow. He tells me that he only sees them on my page and on pictures, but make sure you do a visit to the farm so that you can learn more about agriculture. And I officially introduce you to my guest.
My name is Paul, a farmer located in Karatina, Nyeri County. We do dairy farming in this farm, whereby we deal with specifically fresh animal for milk production. We also deal with extension services under Palmer Farm Distributors, which is located in Karatina behind National Oil, Rogoro stage.
Paul, how many animals do you rear in your farm?
Currently, we have a total of 12 animals, which include mature, heifers, and calves.
How long have you been involved in dairy farming?
In dairy farming, we started back in 2018, so approximately 5 years as we speak. And we have been growing and we expect to go far from there.
During those 5 years, how is the experience of dairy farming? How can you compliment about it?
Dairy farming has been a challenge and also a learning process, whereby every day we learn something new. And it's quite encouraging because at least we get results whenever we improve with the technology moving on.
What kind of animal breeds do you have in your farm? Because there are some farmers who have jerseys, different breeds. What kind of breeds have you specified with?
Right now what we're specified in is Frisian. As all you can see, all these are Frisians. But we expect by next year we'll be introducing other animals like the jersey, because some of the heifers are actually served with jersey. So from next year probably we'll be introducing other animals, but at the moment we only deal with Frisians.
We are seeing that you are practicing zero grazing in your farm. What kind of measurements do you check when, or what kind of things do you consider when constructing the zero grazing?
Oh, the zero grazing measurements, we use a standard of a Frisian cow, whereby the wheel is around 4 foot, the length of a sleeping area is around 7 foot, a playing area of around 10 foot, and a feeding area of 2 foot, which is basically, that is a basic requirement for a Frisian cow.
During construction of zero grazing, you find some farmers, they make errors because of errors that happen during cleanliness. How do you maintain your cleanliness during the construction so that the animals during in future they can experience the favor of cleanliness?
What we do is, as you can see from our farm, we have cemented completely, and we did a lot of what we do is we also added some blocks under the cement to ensure like the place is waterproof. The other thing we ensure there is no mud. The mud do is we ensure the floor is cemented. We also use cow mattresses, and we ensure that our zero grazing is slanting on the one side, whereby it's easy to clean using water. And we also use some brushes every day in the morning to ensure it's properly scrubbed, and that helps in preventing most of the diseases.
What feeds do you feed your animals so that you can enhance or balance diet on the animals?
What we feed on these animals, the milking cows, we prefer feeding them on silage, hay, and some part of dairy meal. But most of our heifers, we prefer feeding them on hay. And what we add extra is what we call the maize germ and the bran, at least to improve on our energy. We also add something we call the super napier, which is actually a good source of some protein here and there to ensure that our cows are healthy.
On that question of fodder, how is the experience with the super napier grass? Because most of the farmers are asking how is the experience.
The experience about Super Napier, the only thing I can tell you is that it's very good in terms of protein, but also whenever you are doing Super Napier in your farm, make sure you also consider other materials. This basically because the Super Napier does not actually have a lot of dead matter that can actually satisfy your cow, but it has a very good crude protein. So when you integrate Super Napier in other feeds that you are going to feed, you'll be reducing the cost of protein, which is among the most expensive costs when we come to dairy farming.
Do you have a feeding routine? How do you feed your animals?
We have a feeding routine basically because cows require a specific routine that they can learn every day. So what we do here, we feed our cows 3 times a day. We feed very early in the morning at around 4:30 after milking. We also feed after lunch, which is I think right now, and we also feed in the evening after milking.
As a video I saw on your TikTok page, Farm with Paul, you make maticha. Have you faced any challenge with the maticha, and what are the advantages of it?
Machicha is very good and also very risky. Machicha helps in actually, okay, when you make the machicha, what you do is that we are reducing the process in the rumen of a cow. Physically, and we are reducing that by using our buckets and everything. It's very good because it provides quite some energy, but it has also some risks whereby if you don't feed at the required time, what will happen? It will taint your milk. So wherever you're feeding machicha, make sure you know when to feed, and specifically at least some few hours before milking.
More farmers are experiencing challenges with conception problems with their animals. Have you experienced the problem yourself?
Yes, we have experienced a lot of problems last year in terms of conception for most of our cows, and that was brought about by poor quality of the semens that we were purchasing. And before we realized, we had already gone to quite some losses. So one thing I should also tell farmers is, like, whatever the animals you are keeping, probably for the Frisians have a conception of around 50-50%, whereas the other animals that have more conception rate. So wherever you have the Frisians, make sure you know the kind of semen you're going to serve it, how that semen is stored. So wherever you're using a vet, make sure he stores his semen properly, because that can lead into a lot of losses in terms of conception. The other thing is all about rearing, how you rear your animals from day 1 up to the maturity. Ensure your cow has enough minerals and enough carbohydrates, enough vitamins, and your cow will come on heat on time and it will conceive as required. Basically because whenever you feed your cow only requires some food for body maintenance, some for milk production, and the other feeds are required for what we call reproduction. If one of them is not enough, the other one will not happen. For example, if you're not feeding enough for body growth, then the side of the conception will not happen. If you feed excessively, then the conception will also not happen.
How do you rear your calves in your farm? Because we understand in the dairy farming sector that how you feed the calf at the early age, it will determine even the production in future.
One of the most crucial part of calves are the first 90 days. So what we do here is, whenever a calf is born, probably it's born today, we ensure that that calf is properly dried or licked by the mother. The other thing we also do is we weigh our calf on what we call the birth weight. So after that, we ensure before 2 hours elapse, we feed this cow on cholesterol maximally. And the reason we do that is because that calf's stomach is very permeable before 2 hours, and the cholesterol contains what we call the antibodies. So the calf will be able to absorb those antibodies that will help in future to prevent most of these diseases. After that, we also introduce very clean water to those calves, and we also introduce and we also give milk that is of good temperature and 6 liters per calf. And what we do here, we divide the 6 liters into 3 times, which is in the morning, afternoon, and the evening. When our calves gets to around 2 weeks, we start introducing hay, which hay helps in the growth of the rumen and also the development of other chambers in a calf. We also have what we call the calf pellets as 2 weeks, whereby we increase the calf pellets as the calf grows, as we reduce the amount of milk. The other thing, we also deworm our calves monthly from 1 month up to 6 months, and by this time we weigh them every month to ensure we deworm according to their weight, and also interchange the active ingredients in the dewormers we are using.
We understand that farmers are facing challenges during the dairy farming, and when they are operating a dairy farm. What are some of the challenges that you have experienced as a farmer, and if they have been affected by the government?
One of the challenges we have been facing here is the cost of feeds, which if it was for my opinion, we think every agricultural activity and farm inputs should be tax-free for us to be able to produce enough. Because the moment that most of these things are being taxed, we end up producing at a very high cost, and yet some of the markets we are not able to dictate the price of milk in the market. The other challenges we had faced about feeds during the dry season, which was quite a challenge because maintaining these animals requires very good quality feed. So when it's so dry, we had those challenges, but from now on we actually made some adjustment, and we ensured we are going to store feeds at least enough for a whole year, and this one will make us have enough time to prepare for more feeds and also be able to have a consistent production.
Because you are an experienced farmer for 5 years, where do you see the future of agriculture?
The future of agriculture is very bright. Reason being, whenever no one doesn't eat. People eat, as we always say, people eat to live. So every day people eat, and meaning agriculture we must produce. So the only thing I say in agriculture is that this is a business that can last very long because people require the feed, and the other part is it's also a livelihood to many people and a source of employment.
What advice can you give to aspiring farmers and skills they should know before venturing into dairy farming?
For aspiring farmers, one of the things that I always encourage people is all about knowledge. Because when you get into this business without knowledge, it's where most of the farmers go wrong. Before you start any kind of farming, may it be this dairy farming, may it be any kind of farming, make sure you first look for what you call a little knowledge that will be able to let you learn something. The other part is, whenever you want to start, starting small doesn't mean you remain to be small, but you can start small and grow with time.
I know there is a youth somewhere watching this video. What advice can you give the youth about agriculture, because most of them don't want to be involved with agricultural activities?
One thing I've always been telling people, doing agriculture si ushamba, and one thing is like agriculture for most of you can be an eye-opener, because most of the things is I've met a lot of people in this industry and it's a livelihood. So the only thing I can tell you, if you're aspiring and you want to do agriculture, the thing I can encourage you is start with what you have. And the other thing is the agriculture has a very long value chain. So you can even start in production, you can start in sales, and you can even do what you call the manufacture of feeds, as long as you do it with passion and make sure you learn.
How can other farmers be able to reach out to you for agricultural services?
For me, you can reach me through my Facebook page, which is MK Husbandry, or my personal one, which is Paul Moneki. The other one, you can reach us on what we call TikTok at Farm with Paul, and on YouTube the same way, Farm with Paul. Or you can also call me through my number, which is 0712460899.
Thank you for watching today's episode, and I hope you have enjoyed it and you have learned more about dairy farming. Let's venture into agriculture, because I always say farming is the way to go. Be a billionaire in agriculture, and we can do it. Youth, let us venture into agriculture. Agriculture ndo inalipa sasa.